If it is my organization and you work with me, if you're late by 1 second, it's a yellow card. If you're late another time, it's a red card. We stop working together. It's a very strong approach. It's very clear at a high level of success. If you're late and don't manage time, you will fail. So I want in this video to really explain why it's so important to ask the whole organization, including yourself, to be on time like a clock, and why it's easier to do that, right? How you will gain and avoid a whole vast array of mistakes and errors and project failures, simplify your life, and build up your self-esteem. So if you want all of that, this is the video. In your meetings, are people on time or not? What I mean by on time is literally at the second. If your meeting is at 8 a.m., at 8 a.m., if people are sitting ready to work, they're on time. 1 second later, they're late. Okay? The issue is, and the goal for success, is to be on time all the time. All my clients are super on time, their organization are super on time, and they experience incredible level of success. So this is really related to your success. So my question to you is, are you on time consistently? Many years ago, I started teaching in MBA schools about project management. And my way of getting them to become amazing project manager was to really tell them to start with the right methods. Namely, first of all, to control their time and to be on time. What I noticed is that those same students became high performers in their entire studies. People came back and says, what have you done to those people? And so I learned from that. So now I'm trying to emphasize the importance of this principle. Be on time at the second. So I started training them by saying, if you need to be in my class, you need to be on time. But on time means at the second. At 8:01, you will be late. There will be consequences. Namely, I give you a yellow card. Next time, I give you a red card. And red card means you can't stay in my class because clearly you don't want to win. You don't want to be at the Champions League level. And the students kind of love the challenge and they say, okay, we'll be on time. But some students were late and I gave them a yellow card. And I said, I'm giving you a yellow card next time you're red. Of course, they never were late again. But I also started giving yellow cards to the partners in their teams. And say, so if he's late, you are all late. So you all get a yellow card. And that got the conversation going. It became so amazing that these people become super performers. Their teachers were impressed with this. And I took the same technique inside companies. So today I have many companies that come back to me and says, we are able to deliver our projects. What happened? So I want to explain the systems to you, and in 3 key steps, you will understand why it's fundamental to be on time. Now, we want to solve this problem forever, all right? So you are going to become an amazingly punctual person. There's really 3 levels to look at. The first, the mindset. What happens in your mind, in your state of mind, to create those results and those excuses, right? So we're going to look at really what changes, what new perspective you can really practice so that you have the mindset of a winner and basically somebody that is on time all the time, all right? The second level is the tools, the methods that are going to support you, right? So that you deal with your punctuality, but also how other people impact your punctuality. Because often when you are in a collective, people make mistakes, and then therefore you can't respect your own agreements. So the tools to manage all of this for yourself, for your teams, and your organization. Finally, the third level is what I call skill set. We practice together. What happens when somebody is late, when a project is late, when a team is late, when an organization is late? How do we approach that? How do we learn from it? And how do we become better? So how do we deal with these broken agreements? How do we deal with suppliers that are late? How do we deal with our bosses, peers, direct reports, myself, everybody around me? You can use this in your private life. How do I deal with it? So basically 3 steps: mindset, frameworks, skill sets. In my book, you will find 2 practices, the beyond time practice and the respect agreement practice, which really are the core of building self-respect. And I learned this in the US, in Silicon Valley, when I did my first coaching training. And I was surprised because they emphasize only that. You came in, and if you were late, people would notice and they would tell you. And a lot of people would tell you that you are late. And that forced everybody to be on time. And then I wondered, why are you guys doing this? Well, I noticed that the people that were not on time eventually left on their own. And as they left, the level of trust in the team that was left behind increased. People were delighted to lose them. They were delighted that they leave, actually. I was so impressed with that, so surprised, because the level of safety inside the group increased as people respected being on time. So we started trusting each other, working, challenging each other, respecting our agreements, and we created the first high-performance team I ever saw. The mindset of these people is: I plan, I communicate before I plan, I respect my word, I walk the talk, and as a result, people respect you, you influence people better, your credibility increases, and basically your delivery is much better than anybody else. First of all, it's your ability to notice and other people to notice. Not only can you notice you're there on time, or you're deviating. Am I going to have enough time to finish, etc. So the art of being able to center and notice time, watch the time. Don't get lost in the action, okay? The second aspect is setting rules. Set rules for yourself and set rules for people around you. Let's say a meeting. You just says, well, I'd like my meeting to start on time, so guys, I will start on time, whether you're late or not. And then you can invite them. It says, I'm very punctual, I expect punctuality, I appreciate if you try to be on time. Can you? And people would just normally say yes. Third is you actually are managing agreements. So when somebody says, I will be there at this time, that's an agreement. So you want people to respect agreements. Now, it's very important to debrief. I talk about it in many other mini courses. If you debrief, you change the game, basically. So when you debrief with your team, let's say you debrief a meeting, you start by asking them, what did we do right? Whether the meeting worked or not. What did we do right? You invite them for a 5-minute debrief, 3-minute debrief. And people will describe behaviors. You listen to me, you were on time, and so forth. And then it says, what do we do better next time? It's an elegant way of not pointing out about behavior, but pointing out the future, if you want. And it's really feed forward. And you look at it and you say, what do we do better next time? Okay, tell us the meeting is really at 8. Okay, it's really at 8. Emphasize that you will start at 8. I will do that. Other things, well, warn me, because I was in a meeting, somebody could have warned me and pulled me out of it. Okay, this is what we do, etc. So have people think about next time. That's a very important practice. And finally, one of the most important is the art of feedback. I'll start with positive feedback. What I do in my meetings, I thank people. Thank you for being on time. I really appreciate it. And I move on. Negative feedback, I don't do it in front of everybody. I will talk to an individual separately and I would say, well, you were late. I don't appreciate it. What do we do better next time? And usually it works well. It's even better if other people give feedback to this person. So if this person gets feedback from a lot of people, then I tell you, you're getting a culture there of people being on time. The problem is not one feedback, but the lack of constant positive feedback around you. That changes the ball game. That's a framework there. Notice, set rules, seek agreements that are respected, debrief, and use the power of feedback. Practice. I'm so passionate about this because that's a solution to success. It's not getting a training, but it's practicing, and your level of competency increases. So here's the key elements of your practice. First of all, communication. You want to communicate. People never communicate enough. Communicate before. Hey, I had an appointment with you at 9, or I was going to be delivering this at 10. I cannot make it. I have this problem. Can we change our agreement? I'm going to be there at 9:30. Usually people say yes, and they feel that you are professional because ahead of time you never renegotiate the agreement. So communicate. Second, plan, anticipate. Things happen. Traffic happens. So anticipate, be there early so that you don't stress about being there at the last minute and run into the hallways just to be on time. You know, in France, for instance, the train leave on time. You don't want that stress. Plan. So you want to plan. Inside a meeting, you may look at it and you say, well, this is going to take far longer than expected, and we're going to break an agreement here. Then you talk to people, you communicate, and you say, okay, guys, we have a problem. We can't extend it. Can we cut it and do it next time? All of this creates safety, great collaboration. Monitor. That's exactly what you're saying. Stand back a little bit. Get away from the doing, busy, where your emotions are taken, and look at what's happening. Is this going to work? Are we going to be able to do this within this amount of time? So in your meetings, you want a regulator. You want somebody that stands back and look at the process. So become this process person. I call it a meta position about time, about what we're doing, where it's going, and you can anticipate. Third, there's a fair amount of, I would call, confrontation. It's not really brutal, but you really need to let people know, hey, this is not working. You are actually late. So this is about creating a feedback culture where people talk about those broken agreements and say, well, you were late. And that person that gets 5 feedbacks, I tell you, this person will change. And then for you don't have to do it. So really ask people to talk about these behaviors and those things that are not working. Finally, this is a collective effort. If you're late or about to be late, it's good if somebody supports you and says, be careful, you're spending a lot of time on this phone call, but we have a meeting starting in 5 minutes. Are you sure you want to do this? And usually this person will just say, oops, thank you. Stop that, I go there. That's a lot of support. Okay, so it really has 3 dimensions. Your mindset, which is basically your state of mind. I want to win. I don't want to make excuses. I want to be a planner and a good communicator. That's all a mindset of a winner. Second, you have the tool that you need to practice. This is a method that's going to support this on-timeness. Finally, you need to practice yourself and with others about that and respect this. The positive consequences will touch just about everything. You will be able to deliver projects much easier. You're going to simplify, and you're going to avoid a lot of stress and a lot of conflicts in delivery, basically. So I'm really excited about you experimenting with these 3 dimensions. Check the resources below. There's lots of them, articles, videos. All of them are free, and I look forward to hearing success stories.